Hey guys, it's Matthew here once again, and the next build I've decided to take on in the league is Blade Vortex. I looked at Blade Vortex when they first put out the changes about all the spells getting way bigger, and I thought, yo, that's probably going to make it viable enough to play again. Blade Vortex has been a little bit, under the dumps, under the weather for the past couple of leagues or so. There's been some nerfs, and the area on it just doesn't feel amazing, and it was largely made good because of guaranteed explosion chests, and those kind of went away. But you can still play Blade Vortex, and you could still play it for a while, but this makes it a lot more palatable. Something like 50% more damage on its actual fizz base means that it's much easier to get rolling without truly insane gear, and I wanted to make a bit of a hipster character around it, which is an Inquisitor, which utilizes low life and then petrified blood as well, and then is also righteous fire sustaining through just a shitload of regen. So that's basically what I've done. It's a full conversion Blade Vortex that goes from fizz into a lot of lightning, some cold, some fire, and an Inquisitor, so that it doesn't need any ele penetration or anything, but at the same time you are also extremely regen based thanks to the consecrated ground nodes, and then a lot of regen from gear, and we can go low life, we can go petrified blood, bunch of armor, some block, some decent amount of defense, and so far so good. I've yet to die on the character and just been doing like pretty juiced maps, and I do think there's good chance that we can take on some serious endgame. I don't think the DPS is quite as high as I was hoping, but Blade Vortex is also a very big help in this type of a build. You can have 2 charges of Blade Vortex these days even, which is pretty damn nice. So I think at the moment I'm something like 3 to 4 million DPS, which is decent for how thick and tanky the character is. But as I was just playing around in Path of Building, it doesn't really seem like us converting does all that much at the moment, because I'm not really scaling elemental damage all that much. So if I was just pure fizz on this character instead, it'd be a similar DPS outcome, but you wouldn't have any of the ailments really, so that would be a bit unfortunate. So in any case, we are still full converting, and it is still working out well enough. Also got really wanted to make use of the new Eater of Worlds or Searing Exarch, can't remember which modifier, on the boots, the Brittle Ground. So this is the type of character that can easily run over the top of enemies and bosses and make use of that Brittle Ground, even though it's only 2-second duration of Brittle Ground, and it takes my crit from 50% all the way up to 100%, because it basically doubles the crit of your Blade Vortex with that extra 5 crit. And it's been a pretty powerful additional mod just for pure free damage. Otherwise, I'm fitting in a bunch of auras. As you can see, we've got like Hatreds and Tempest Shields and all the defensive shit, and a lot of that is just because of the passive tree. I'm also utilizing Ashes of the Stars again on this build, though it's not by any means build enabling or defining like the previous character that I just played it on. I do think it's going to be extremely build defining on a lot of builds, but it's also just a solid amulet for a bit of extra reservation and some qualities on your other gems. I will actually, though, when I start streaming today, look into a different amulet in case I can get something better, because it's really not that much better for my character at the moment. It's similar DPS wise to just a regular amulet with a +1 and a little bit of crit multi. It's just going to be an extra couple of points to take care of the reservation of your auras, but it might be worth looking into an actual different amulet, especially if I can get life on it, because this one currently doesn't have any. But as always, it is just a nice solid amulet you can chuck into most builds. Otherwise, not sure what else to say about the character. It's so far still just kind of being figured out. Didn't get to play too much yet, like level 87 I think. It felt a pretty good playstyle. I did initially want to do some sort of explosions, and in this case I wanted to try out the Shock Prolific Gloves implicit from the new implicits and Impulsor. I did try it out early on, and honestly didn't feel that much better than just running around and buzzing stuff down. This area is somewhat adequate and good enough either way, but absolutely, if you want to get some explosions into a Blade Vortex, it will clear a lot better, and I think the Occultists are pretty popular for that as well at the moment. So in any case, let me show you what the character looks like so far. So here is my current character, the level 87 Inquisitor called BV Longneck. Just the VB Longneck meme, but reversed because BV. And currently we're sitting at 2.6 thousand life, which is low life with petrified blood, 1.1 thousand energy shield, and that is with mind over matter as well, and like a bajillion regen, so you basically can't ever get to 0 energy shield, as you can tell, because my current regen for the character is 2,800 life regen and then 2,000 energy shield regen, and that does allow me to just sustain righteous fire at the moment as well. So there it is, pretty comfortably, and then we'll still get a bunch of extra energy shield, a bunch of regen on top of that. I think I've got probably like 1,500 regen on top of this, even through the RF degen. But the entire character base was to try and boost my damage through that, so it seems to have worked out well enough, but still not quite the DPS levels I was hoping for at this stage. We'll see if it really matters, or, I mean, so far the DPS has felt really good, like I've killed everything comfortably, but I just thought the numbers would be bigger, so we'll see how that pans out. So building basically just Blade Vortex tooltip thing so big you can't even see it on screen. No alt qualities, just pure bit of extra area. You could do an alt quality for like Leech, I suppose, but then you got to make sure it's a Vile Blade Vortex, because that is a big part of the smoothness of the build, having a Vile Blade Vortex, and you know, having to corrupt for alt qualities is a bit annoying. Otherwise, the character is basically the most interesting part about it. Is just built like for lots of regen. So grabbed some temple gloves that have you know, the temple mod for chill, and then some life regen rate. Plenty of life and life regen on this belt. Picked up for like fucking, I don't know, 30C or something. Some really scummy boots that were like 5C, just life and regen rate, or life regen per second. Got a fractured shield that I was just putting some, can't remember what I was putting into at this point, scorns maybe? Scorn essences, which are like 2 scorns to 1 chaos, you know, essence market's just fucked. With fracture, and then managed to hit spell damage and 3 max res, which in this case, if we're always maintaining RF, is technically worth a pile of extra regen. So I had to keep that around. This I specifically was just trying to get a bit of extra reservation on skills, crafted through the Loathing Essence, but it's a Blade Vortex duration helmet chart, which is the only extra duration I have from the tree or anything, and I'd say you need some somewhere, so either through the tree or the helmet chart. Makes things feel a little bit nicer gameplay-wise. And then just picked up a temple chest on the market for 1x, which has a pile of life regen and a bit of life, and then the life as ES roll. You could just do more of a hybrid chest, to be honest. You don't have to do this type of a thing, and may even look around for more. I currently definitely need to get rid of this red socket, because there's nothing else I can do with another red socket. It's currently just awakened added fire at level 5. It gains +1 level, so it will be worth wearing at that point, but it's still kind of weak. And this gem here needs to become crit multi, which means I need either a Varici from the research safe house or a harvest of non-blue to blue. Otherwise, I could still look around for a new chest, and nothing too special in the implicits, just a bit of extra block and crit damage. And over here, cast speed, spell damage. Over here, the gloves can be a big help. So I've got the rest of my damage finished off converting here, and then also unnerve. And then the boots, as I mentioned, brutal ground. That does give you 5 extra crit, and that pretty much doubles the crit. I think Blade Vortex has 6, so not quite double, but almost. Otherwise, the links here are added fire, intensify. So intensify is pretty useful. It starts out with more area every time you cast. But as you want to become more of a specialist in single target, it gets really small, and you get bigger damage. So very nice that. Anomalous Fizz to Lightning just converts a bit more. As I said, I just then discovered through the POB that converting really doesn't matter much, so an Anomalous here hardly, it doesn't really do anything. And Fizz to Lightning apparently isn't even very big for the build. But It'll depend on how much I'll actually shock enemy bosses for in the long run. So we'll have to wait and see. If we get shocks up to like 40-50%, then full converting ended up being kind of worth it. And then I've got Spell Echo as my facilitator of faster Blade Vortexes, but you can instead map with Unleash. I definitely did start using Unleash as soon as I could. It's only recently that gotten to higher levels and filled out more cast speed and all that I think Echo can start becoming competitive, but you do have to do more stutter steps in that sort of a playstyle. Otherwise, Unleash is definitely a solid play. What else about the gear? Used Essence of Hysteria just to roll some cast speed rings. This one and then this one I just needed some dexterity on, but pretty much most of my cast speed comes from these, and I think you need a little bit just to make the uptime of your Blade Vortexes a little bit smoother. Picked up a dagger that has some extra cold lightning spell damage, and then this was like, I can't remember, it was 10C or something, and then I did prefix can't be changed and used a veil and got the double damage, and ultimately this thing is still basically about as good, a little bit worse even, than a wand that has 100 spell damage and +1 fizz, which is like 10C. So I may look into still upgrading this because we can get a lot more damage out of a wand with a higher end wand, but so far this is what I've got, and I do also get Arcane Surge on this build thanks to this mod here, but it won't be up during boss fights. It's just Arcane Surge on kill. You otherwise can't get Arcane Surge easily if you're using Eldritch Battery, which does bring us to the passive tree. So it's a bit of a travel everywhere passive tree. We do want Eldritch Battery. You can get it from a Devouring Diadem if you really, forego a Helm Enchant, because it's tough to get a Helm Enchant and a Devouring Diadem, but otherwise it can smoothen out your passive tree a lot. But we do kind of want this area node over here for Intensify, some crit multi, I'm pretty low on that, and I need to be over here for Pain Attunement anyway. Otherwise I'm going to pick up these two Jewel Sockets, got Mind Over Matter, got Iron Will, which is just 60 damage at this point, I think. Some Reservation, some crit, bunch of block and glancing blows and regens and all of that. And at the moment my block is 68 with glancing blow and 58 spell block with glancing blow. So with all the regen I have and all the armor, I'm just trying to use block to kind of like mitigate the higher hits once again, and it's not going to be as good as regular block, especially if you build into lots of block, but it just helps smoothen out some of those hits and then let our regen do the work. And I got to watch as I really didn't know which one to get, because there's a lot that we can get, like Vitality, Leech, Regen, and a lot of different Zealotry effects, and in the end just landed on Zealotry, making them take a bit of extra damage. But there are a lot of Watcher's Eyes you could go as a defensive or offensive, as Regen, Leechy as you want for this type of a build. Because currently what I've got is Hatred, Tempest Shield, Defiance Banner, Petrified Blood, Determination, Vitality, and Herald of Ash. On my life is just the Herald of Ash and the Vitality. I self-cast Assassin Mark against just bosses. I've yet to need to do that. Zealotry, Divine Blessing, so that's just a pure free aura we cast whenever we need it for the 10 seconds. And then up here we have Hatred, Flame Dash, Attach Second Wind, Divergent Righteous Fire, which with the alt quality from this thing does get a good boost, so 50 increased spell damage. So it does make the amulet a bit more worth using, but that's, I think, basically the only real interesting interaction in the build. Molten Shell, Shield Charge, faster attacks. Tempest Shield, there is a Divergent Tempest Shield, which gives you an extra bit of spell block on quality. Those are really expensive, like they're 8 exalts, but it would give me, I think, 10 extra block with glancing blows, so pretty good stuff, but they're pretty expensive. Determination, Petrified Blood, and Defiance Banner over here. So that's basically the build at the moment. It's been pretty fun, and Blade Vortex I think is definitely highly viable at the moment in many different ways. I've heard examples of people making good occultist ones, assassins, inquisitors with battle mage, Volcanus battle mage, that type of stuff. Definitely a viable skill, and you can get it going with many different setups, and if you really need the explosions, you can get them, and it will make the clear a bit better. The MTX in the character as well is just some of the new set, Harmony Hat, Heritage, and then the Divergence character effect, and the support pack wings from, you know, $60 pack or some shit like that. That's what the character looks like, if you're wondering, and the Tempest Shield skin. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and see you next time.